That's me just in Edinburgh to do my first session with point coaching with Chris and Helena. It's going to be very interesting. Never done anything like this before, and hopefully set me on a good path to find happiness.
So I'm Helena Alder.
Yeah, and I'm Chris Alder.
And we've created point coaching together just as a vehicle for integral coaching here in Scotland. I think happiness is possible, but it's also like an attitude you live with. It's like, how do you actually approach life? How do you, what are your everyday actions that you take to actually contribute to yourself and to others and to the world?
So, how do we get to it?
Facing the difficulties and going into the pain and through the pain, and not just saying, oh, I should be happy all the time, but actually when things arise and things are difficult, to actually face it and deal with it and go through it.
Well-being is more what we're talking about here rather than just happiness. Happiness can be quite fleeting. You know, I get a new car, great, I'm happy. A week later, I'm not so happy. But yeah, that sense of well-being, that, you know, I'm living my life the way I'd like to be living my life. There's no blockages or barriers that are stopping me living my life. Yeah, I think it's about direction in life. I think that's quite a big one for people out in our society at the moment. People are feeling quite lost and directionless.
So, why do people feel so directionless? Chris and Helena have a two-part coaching session that will be used to see if they can drive my focus.
It can be anything, and that's the purpose of the first conversation as well, to really nail what's important just for that person. And that can have any variety of flavors to it. So I think there are some sort of patterns of like relationships or work or direction, or which again is like implicit with happiness, because there's some sense of unhappiness that something's not quite working.
Chris begins by explaining what we will look at during the first session.
Cool. So this one we kind of call the intake conversation. I'm going to try and take in as much as I can about what you want to work with. And I'm going to try and approach it from as many different angles as possible. This is integral coaching, kind of like life coaching, but more inclusive, we try and say. So I'm going to try and include all of you, every sort of angle I can come from, to really trying to find out what it is that's there, that's holding you back from being.
I had a chat with Chris for 40 minutes. As time passed, I was interested to know, how exactly do they make up the programme?
The important thing for us is to actually make it specific to the person. So there's no generic answers, there's no right way or there's no wrong way, there's just what's important for you, what is it that you want to work with.
We mentioned the word unique in our website quite a lot because it has to be, in a way. Even the metaphors. You know, there's no book of metaphors we use or anything. We just really feel into that person. What is the metaphor that speaks to them?
Chris and Helena used different methods to write up the individual's programme. I was curious, what were they able to do for me?
There's a structure of the method that we're following, but there's not a specific right answer again, so you would just adjust it to the person as you go along.
I came back the next day to discover how I thought about things and how I could change.
So yeah, today I'm going to offer a couple of different metaphors, as I explained. First metaphor is, it's not about you, it's not trying to say this is you, it's trying to say this is how I see you've been approaching it up until now. So your current way of approaching it, your current way of being. And then we're going to look at sort of a new way you could approach it. So, topic. I think we nailed it yesterday. I didn't change it in any way. I felt like that was exactly what you wanted to work with, which was, I, Mark, want to believe in myself and my abilities. And what really came to me was this sense of almost like this passionate father figure, this passionate father that really wanted, you know, his son to do well, but had really high expectations.
Sounds just about right, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really that, you know, as long as I perform to 100% or beyond, then I'm worthwhile.
Now, time for the new me.
This is where I really want to introduce a different metaphor, for like a different way of doing it.
Right.
And the metaphor that came here, you know, bringing those elements of play and lightness, a bit more lightness and fun. I had the way of the inspired kid's toy inventor. You've got this drive, it's like you're inspired, but you're a kid's toy inventor. It's not so serious.
Yeah.
And as an inventor, you can't get it 100% right straight away, can you? You know, you don't know what the kids want to play with, so you create something, you give it to them, and you see what happens.
Yeah.
And then you take it back and you refine it.
As me and Chris sat and chatted some more, I began to realise how the pressures I put on myself could be resulting in my discontentment. I want to be more inspired, and certainly Chris's toy maker idea was sending me on a new path.
That went really well, really enjoyed it. The 2 days went really well. I think progressed really well as well. I was really happy with Sage. It wasn't, when you hear metaphors you think it's going to go a bit haywire in a sense, but no, it seemed to really resonate. It seemed to really, really resonate with what he was telling me, or what I had told the day before, and I really agreed with it. It was similar things than what I thought before, but it's definitely a different way of looking at it as well.